let's talk now about the course details for Management 1. There's a lot of details in it, but generally we have a unique type of program delivery. I think you're going to really like it. All the feedback so far has been really super positive. First of all, let me go ahead over to course description. A survey in business providing a multidisciplinary examination of how culture, society, you know what? I hate it when people read stuff off the slides, so I'm going to skip over that. I'm going to let you read it, but in essence, this is a really good, solid introduction to business on a general basis. The first 4 chapters, we really deal a lot with the aspect of really a lot of the scattergun things, so to speak, at the very beginning of business. And then we dive into the entrepreneurship aspect. Then we talk about the aspect of running the business, and we close out dealing with the financial aspects of it. It is a really good, broad spectrum of business overall. And by the way, business affects you every single day. By the time you're done, if you spend $1 on any kind of a product, somebody's making money off of that. Somebody had to procure what you're buying to make certain that you have that available to you. It's called business. That's what this class is about. And by the way, business affects you probably every single day that you exist. Here's a series of things we call learning objectives. You'll see a whole series of these as we go through. So my really focus is going to be on hitting each one of these things as we go through. The various ways U.S. government affects, restricts, and protects businesses, compare advantages, disadvantages, different kinds of ownership. We'll talk about sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations as you go through. Ethics, by the way, you're supposed to have a couple of them, at least business, especially as you go through, and then really demonstrate the understanding of functions of a business plan. Yes, we'll actually talk about the 9 components of a business plan as you go through. We'll talk about the profit and risk aspect of it. We're going to talk about marketers as you go through, one of the 4 Ps of marketing as you go through. We'll talk about the decision making that goes by companies' goals. We'll talk about the Federal Reserve System and that secret person who we've never elected that runs a huge amount of things, and some people claim has more power than a president of the United States as you go through. Here is the thing you must do. Number 1, you must be part of Canvas, but you already know that because you're already accessing Canvas through this section over here. The other one is you have to have Connect. Connect is part of the book itself. We have a really good book. It's called Understanding Business. We're in the 13th edition. If you have an older edition, that's fine. I don't care which either edition is. They both work, except listen closely to this really well. You must have Connect. If you don't have Connect, you do not have access to the homework and you will fail the class. You must have Connect. I hope you heard what I said. I said, you must have Connect as you go through. Really, if you go to the IVC bookstore, here's the ISBN number. I've already sent you the syllabus out there as you go through. Okay, but no matter what happens, you can get any source that you want, but you have to make certain that you get Connect access, because that will sit down and give you access to the homework. And if you don't have access to the homework on Connect, you will not be able to pass this class as you go through. I post a lot of announcements on Canvas. We'll talk more about that. You're going to get 4 to 6 announcements every single week. I really want to make certain I'm connecting with you. On email, whenever you go through and send me an email, you must put the section number in it. I'm teaching multiple sections of Management 1. You must put the section number. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Some of you will not pay attention to this. You'll send me an email and my response is, what's your section number? And by the time you're done, you'll give it to me eventually. It's going to take 3 or 4 days for the communication to go back and forth, and you won't get your answer like that because you didn't follow the directions. Put the section number in your email. You have to do that because I'm not going to keep on going back to the class roster trying to figure out what class that you're in, because I'm teaching multiple classes as you go through. Do not submit assignments by email. They all go to Canvas as you go through. Make certain also you give enough time for this class. Now, I think this class is fun and enjoyable, but of course, I'm a business guy. I would think that anyway. But that being said, I still think it's fun and enjoyable, but plan for success. That means this is a 3 credit hour class. There should be about 3 hours of work in the class. You need to have about 2 hours for every hour of work. That means this class, you should plan on having it consume 9 hours every single week as you go through. We're going to have some group activities. Yes, even in a class like this, we're going to have some group activities, and you'll have to work with people as you go through. We're going to look at all kinds of stuff, and some of them you are going to be thrilled in the process as you go through. The other ones, pretend you're thrilled just to humor me. I think you'll have a lot of fun anyway. So that being said, we have a really superstar IVC IT department. If you get stuck on something, you put this phone number in your phone, 451-5696, and that way you can call them from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. They are spectacular, and they will help you. So make certain you put this email address and that phone number in your phone to make sure they're accessible. Another aspect of it is your homework, especially the homework that's coming out of Connect. Use the 800-331-5094. That way, you can sit down there and deal with Connect. It's another big deal as you go through. Now, this class, I created a unique format that only I'm teaching it as you go through. It's called the pod class. And it really is for asynchronous. By asynchronous, that means that instead of us meeting all at a specific time, you get to meet it at your own time as you go through. So I take each segment and I chop it up into pieces, 4 to 6 pieces of it, and I call each piece a pod class. No, not a podcast, a pod class. So, for instance, I'm going to have the lessons listed in Canvas. The very first chapter, you have this introductions component, and you also have chapter 1. So chapter 1 has 6 different components for it. So I send out an announcement, and it's going to hit your phone at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then it's also going to hit your phone at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because there's so many components in this week as we go through. So that being said, I normally will send an announcement out at 7 a.m. If there's more than 5 in a week, or if it's a strange week as you go through, you'll see another announcement hit at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't have to stop and watch it right then. You can do it at your own leisure, and that's just when I send the announcement out. Or you can go through Canvas and do them all sequentially as you go through to make certain they're all there. But anyhow, I try to make this available for you, and I try to keep each segment 6 to 12 minutes long. And that way you're not bored. You can really focus in on that moment wherever you're at as you go through. Here's all the different assignments. By the time you're all done, there's reviews and assignments for each chapter. There's 3 discussion boards. Respond to the question, and then respond to at least 2 other classmates. If you don't get full points. Business application, there's 2 of them. There's 2 awesome critical thinking activities. You'll hear more about them as you go through. I have 4 tests overall. Of the 4 tests, only 3 count, the top 3 scores. If you miss one, okay, it's no big deal. Just don't miss 2 in the process. The top 3 count as you go through. And then we have a celebration of learning. Yes, I know it's hokey and corny. It's really a final, but I think celebration of learning is better, and it's just kind of fun, and I enjoy that. Make certain that you pay attention to how you access things. There's 3 different ways to sit down there and look for due dates. One is the syllabus that is actually posted in Canvas, and also I sent it to you already, the manual one. Also, Canvas has its own syllabus on the left-hand side as you go through on the screen. And also, each week I have it broken up into modules. You'll see all the assignments due that week. It tells you 3 different ways to do that. Submit all assignments through Canvas as you go through. I will accept late homework, usually, okay, but it's subject to reduction to 50% as you go through. Make certain that you are the sole person that does the work. If I find out someone else is doing it, you get an F for that, and you get to go visit the dean. Sometimes people never come out of her office, is what I heard. Anyway, so unless I hear about it, you cannot take a test after the date it was due as you go through. Drop policy. Sometimes things happen and they'll get in the way of life as you go through. So if you can't make it, if something happens, you have to go out of the country or whatever, you're hospitalized, you can't finish the last 5 weeks of the semester, who knows what it could be, make certain that you pay attention and you drop the class. You do not want to sit down there and collect a series of zeros and then get an F in the class because the F is hard to get off your records. You're better off paying attention and drop it rather than get an F as you go through. Make certain you're honest as you go through. There's a whole series of things here. You got the student code of conduct. I really want you to make certain, especially on discussions, I want people to be able to express themselves as you go through. If you disagree with them, I kind of like to have that back and forth dialogue. I think it's very healthy, but be respectful as you go through. Overall, this is a fun class. You'll learn a lot if you pay attention to it. So I'm looking forward to working with you to have this become a great class. I sure hope that you'll enjoy it, be memorable, and maybe even more important, I hope you're going to carry something out of this class into your life, into the real world, and use it for years to come. That being said, looking forward to it. Take care.